The Florida Department of Health is reporting nearly 8,000 people have now died of COVID-19 in Florida. That number does not include non-residents who died within the state. 180 new deaths were just reported. Taking a look at cases statewide, new cases increased by nearly 7,700. The total is now up to 518,075 since the start of the pandemic. In Southwest Florida, you can see the total is 32,000 cases for the region, the 6-county region. We can also break down the numbers for you so you see where the county you live is. Lee County reporting more than 16,000 cases, 329 people have died. Collier County with over 10,000 cases, 131 people have died. In Charlotte County, they're inching closer to that number of 2,200 cases. There have been 90 deaths in Charlotte County. Hendry County close to 1,800 total cases since the start of the pandemic. 37 people have died. DeSoto County with 1,300 cases and 16 deaths. And Glades County, nearly 400 cases, 3 people have died in Glades County. Starting this weekend, you can get tested for coronavirus for free in Arcadia. This is in DeSoto County. The state's mobile rural testing unit is going to be at the Turner Center both tomorrow and on Sunday. We've put the times there for you on the screen. Up to 1,000 tests can be given on each of these days. You don't have to be showing symptoms. You don't have to make an appointment, but you might need patience. If you can't make it this weekend, the testing will also continue on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Tomorrow, you and other people in the community get the chance to pay their respects to this Naples firefighter, Anthony Christensen, who recently passed away. Tony died on Tuesday after he contracted COVID-19. He had it for several weeks. They believe he contracted it while on the job. His body had been at Gendron Funeral Home in Fort Myers for a private viewing. Then a public procession will take him to Cambier Park in downtown Naples for his memorial service. That's tomorrow morning at 11. If you want details on the procession route so you can show support along the way, you can go to fox4now.com. If you plan to attend the memorial, fire department officials just want to remind you you're expected to practice social distancing and to wear a mask, which is something they say he advocated for all the time. Florida's first few public schools are set to restart in-person learning next week, and it's going to be a trial by fire for their reopening plans, which are required by the state. But just how detailed are these strategies, and how heavily were they scrutinized, if at all, by the Florida Department of Education? 4 in Your Corner's Forrest Saunders has been taking a look at schools as they try to rebound during the pandemic.
The first day of class is weeks away for high school teacher Jessica Barthel.
More than anything, I miss my kids.
The North Florida woman wants to return to in-person learning, though she has little confidence her district is ready.
It's a very palpable sense of grief for me, but it's not anywhere near the same kind of grief as if I start seeing deaths.
Barthel worries her school's plan to return isn't enough and that the state is complicit, rubber-stamping reopen strategies to comply with what the federal government is pushing.
They're not really considering the best needs of our constituents in our state as the epicenter.
The Florida Department of Education required approval of the plans through the commissioner's controversial reopen order last month. Most have done so, risking loss of funding for noncompliance. We wanted to take a closer look at them, and after review, found plans are inconsistent. They range from very detailed to pretty reserved. Take a look. This 37-page reopen plan belongs to Pinellas County. It's got a lot of contingencies, a lot of details. But then there's Orange County's, which is half the size and half the details. And then you go all the way down to Dixie County, which is just 6 pages. Most plans aren't much more than a checklist the department sent out to districts. Templates ask schools to agree to 7 assurances, like providing in-person lessons. What they don't require, details on virus protections. The approval process looks pretty straightforward as well. According to this DOE email to Calhoun County, approval is, quote, focused on verifying each of the 7 assurances.
We're going to provide tremendous flexibility for districts to do what fits their community.
That's Senate Ed Committee Chair Manny Diaz. He stands by the department's system, saying it provides districts needed freedom in a diverse state.
Look, it may just check off the boxes. It'd be very simple for them to be able to return. And for other districts, it's going to require a more elaborate plan, a scheme, depending on the size of the district, depending on the infection rates and what the obstacles are.
But how will these varied plans actually hold up once reopening is underway? For that answer, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Barthel is hoping her school hits the brakes before it can.
How much are our lives worth?
At the Capitol, Forrest Saunders, Fox 4 in your corner.
All right, here's your rebound rundown. When it comes to state-required school reopening plans, this is what our Four in Your Corner investigation found. Details obviously vary by district, as Forrest showed you. Most are simply a checklist that agree to 7 state requirements, like in-person learning, and none of the requirements specifically deal with virus protection. And state plan approval is contingent upon verifying that districts will comply. A group is yet again calling for no mandatory masks at school ahead of the upcoming school year in Lee County. They held this small rally to make their voices heard outside the school district headquarters in Fort Myers this afternoon. The group says it doesn't agree with the push for masks to be worn at all times on school campuses, especially for children. They say they're getting petitions signed to try to undo the requirement. One parent says people should have a choice.
There's teachers who are willing to teach in a mask. There's teachers also that don't want to teach in a mask. And I think those teachers, if we can figure out who they are, we can kind of make everybody happy in that we can have the virtual students being taught by the teachers that are home, the teachers that are not in masks teaching the students that don't want to be in masks, and the students that are in masks being taught by the teachers that are in masks.
Officials with the Lee County School District say they made the masks mandatory after consulting with local health experts.
As difficult that it may be to not have normalcy within their social life, if they try to do that, they're going to put themselves at risk.
And at the same time, game on. How some students at FGCU are preparing to get back into the game in the middle of the pandemic. Plus,
it means the world to me. It means the world to my baby and my family.
a server got an unexpected customer, a celebrity, and how their conversation led to a tearful surprise. You're watching Four in Your Corner coverage on WFTX. Cindy?
Immokalee has already received 2 inches of rain this afternoon, and look at this. There's another batch coming in from the south and east. How long is this rain going to last this evening? I'll have the timeline. Don't go away.
Live from the station that's in your corner, you're watching Fox 4 News at 6.
It's almost go time for student athletes at Florida Gulf Coast University. Just a negative COVID-19 test and a physical stands between the players and their practices. Four in Your Corner's Rachel Lloyd sharing what else they have to do before they can transition back onto the field or court.
Before athletes can step on the field, there's a few steps they have to take. First, the women's soccer team will get tested for COVID-19 and then isolate.
Hopefully witnessing a negative test, then they will be able to go through physicals next Thursday.
Florida Gulf Coast University Athletic Director Ken Kavanaugh says players are ready to start practicing again. The competitive season is set to start September 18th, but he says scheduling will be a challenge.
Some of the teams have already pulled out off of our schedules. They're not even playing in the fall. Some others have not determined yet what they're going to do.
And FGCU has to be smart about competing against the teams that are left.
I think most of us are going to look to, we won't compete against other institutions unless we have at least the same minimum threshold of testing.
He says players will be tested regularly, but not on a daily basis like professional athletes. Then there's the $2.5 million question. As of now, they're anticipating to have a winter basketball season, but if not, there's a lot at stake.
It's going to be a hit. We're guesstimating at this point in the neighborhood of $2.5 million that's going to come away from our budget when you take away lack of season tickets at the level that we've been used to, Eagles Club memberships, corporate sponsorships.
He says they're still waiting to hear from the Atlantic Sun Conference on whether or not fans will be allowed to watch any of the games, but they have decided to replace athlete water bottles with disposable cups. About 125 athletes and staff will get tested for COVID-19 today and tomorrow, and about 300 when all sports can finally return. Rachel Lloyd, Fox 4 in Your Corner.
Thanks, Rach. Also, as part of those new safety procedures at FGCU, students and staff are now required to complete a brief questionnaire on COVID-19, part of a daily health screening, like do you have a fever? There is an app for it before you go on campus every day. Students who are living on campus have to complete that questionnaire on the app before they even leave the housing and go to any other part of campus, including their classes.
FGCU picked up about a half an inch of rain this afternoon, and many spots have had a lot more than that. We've had as much as 3 inches reported, that off of Corkscrew Road in eastern Lee County. Starting to congeal just a bit. The sea breeze fronts collided this afternoon inland, so that's what they're lining up now, anywhere from Glades County through Hendry County, Collier County. Just a few storms on the coast, though. But let's start with this one. It's been sitting here now for about, I'd say, at least 45 minutes, so this has been dropping some heavy rain here. Still getting quite a bit of lightning, holding stationary or just trying to drift to the, oh boy, it looks maybe eastward, but it looks like it's just sitting. Same thing going on down here around Immokalee. Immokalee has picked up 2 inches already. This one looks like it's starting to weaken, starting to split apart. And down south here in southern Hendry and Collier County, still looking at some storms that are trying to make their way to the north and west. We do have a significant weather advisory in effect for this area. Heavy rain, could be some gusty winds there as well. Here are some of the rainfall totals this afternoon. Bonita Shores 1.5, Immokalee 2 inches, still raining. Cape Coral only 1/4 inch today. Gateway picked up 0.6 inches. FGCU, there it is, 0.22 of an inch, and Estero 0.57 of an inch. And many spots have had more than that, even in the downtown Fort Myers area, just to the south, picked up 1 inch. So the westerly flow with the Gulf sea breeze came inland this afternoon. It met up with the East Coast sea breeze, and there you have it. That's where the storms develop. Now the clouds are kind of spreading out from that. Those little outflow boundaries tend to push the storms the direction of the outflow. I think in the next couple of hours these will die off. That'll be it. Becoming partly cloudy to mostly clear overnight, and tomorrow with a light easterly flow, we'll see more of our showers and thunderstorms developing late in the afternoon into the early evening. Heaviest rain, and I don't see a lot of heavy rain here as far as our modeling. 1/4 inch, maybe up to 0.4 inches. So tomorrow's not going to be that much of a stormy day. It doesn't look like it. Back to the tropics, quiet for the most part. We have one little tropical wave down here that the Hurricane Center feels, give it a 10% chance for development. Conditions are hostile right now, so we're just not seeing a whole lot of development, getting a nice break until we head into the active part of the season. Showers and thunderstorms again on Saturday afternoon into the evening, drops off quickly. Nice evening if you're going to be out late. And again on Sunday, afternoon showers and storms. 81 degrees right now at Pagefield, and we've got rain falling there. Feels like 87, so those temperatures have come down beautifully. High today was 93 at Page. So overnight, we're expecting clearing skies, low down to 77 degrees with a light easterly wind, and then tomorrow, sun and clouds. Good chance for showers and storms again late afternoon into the evening. And look at that high, 94 degrees, east winds at 5 to 10. Lots of humidity, very sticky. It'll make it feel like it's over 100. Same thing every single day. We're going to continue with this easterly flow, showers and storms in the afternoon and evening, and highs in the low to mid 90s.
Just a heads up, rain or shine on Monday, the boardwalk at 6 Mile Cypress Loop Reserve is going to be closed for routine repairs and to get some maintenance done. No guided walks are going to be offered during the closure. However, the Rock and Stroll Garden will stay open if you want to visit. Lee County Parks and Recreation is even going to waive the parking fee until the boardwalk reopens if you go to that garden, and is going to reopen the boardwalk itself on Monday, August 24th. On Monday, Cape Coral City Council will discuss $100,000 in improvements for the Big John parking lot. City leaders say they're going to consider an interlocal agreement between the Community Redevelopment Agency and the city. The CRA already made some improvements to the parking lot as part of the streetscape project. However, the most eastern section of that parking lot wasn't included in those initial improvements. The CRA says it wants to let the city manage the final phase of those improvements. Here at WFTX, we want to make sure you know about the resources that are available to you to let you rebound every day, because we know there are a lot of low points. If you need some help with food assistance, here you go. The Harry Chapin Food Bank hosting a mobile food pantry tomorrow from 10 in the morning until noon. You can go to the Copperhead Golf Club in Lehigh Acres to pick up the food. Parents and caregivers, now's your chance to save on back-to-school supplies. The back-to-school sales tax holiday started today. It runs through Sunday. No sales tax on clothes, shoes, and backpacks that cost $60 or less. School supplies that are $15 or less also are included, and electronics up to $1,000. Your child will have the opportunity to get a free back-to-school haircut this weekend. The folks at Twin Cuts offering free haircuts to students this Sunday. You can take your child anytime from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at any of their 5 locations now in the area. Not only will students get a free haircut, they're also going to leave the shop with a free backpack and school supplies as well. 2 rehabilitated sea turtles now back home. Yesterday, the Coast Guard actually helped release them off the Florida Keys. Emma is a female loggerhead sea turtle, received because there was excess air coming out of her body cavity. And they gave her some fluids and vitamins. She was fine after that. And the other one's named Bubbles, also a female, a green sea turtle that was found entangled in an abandoned fishing trap, and that was left behind by some boaters. Giving you a live look at the Naples Pier. Isn't that dramatic? Gosh, you see those storm clouds on the right and then a little bit of sunshine on the left. It's not keeping anyone off the beach or the pier. This is courtesy of EarthCam. Our local coverage continues here on WFTX. An expectant mom in Colorado got an unexpected surprise from a generous celebrity. Zulia, who's a server at an airport restaurant, was shocked when she recognized her customer as Nev Schulman, the host of MTV's Catfish. Well, after chatting with Nev about her pregnancy and her due date, she was even more surprised when she saw the tip on her bill.
The tip was $926 for my due date, which is September 26th. It means the world to me. It means the world to my baby and my family. Like, we never expected that ever to happen to us.
And her due date is also Schulman's birthday. This mother-to-be has been through a lot. Her husband's out of work right now. Back in April, she was laid off for nearly a month. She reached out to thank the celebrity on Instagram.
That toy alone and that is not going to cause sexual abuse. What causes sexual abuse are sex offenders.
A popular children's toy pulled from shelves over complaints that it somehow promotes sexual abuse. You're going to hear more of that response from a local children's advocacy group. New tests from AAA raising some concerns when it comes to driver assistance technology. Why they say you shouldn't fully rely on those safety features. As our coverage continues right here on WFTX.
Yeah. Live from the station that's in your corner. You're watching Fox 4 News at 6.
Troll trouble. The toy company Hasbro says it's removing one of its dolls from shelves after some parents have complained online about features on this doll they say could confuse kids about what sexual abuse is. 4 in Your Corner's Christina Evans has more.
What was meant to be a fun toy.
And if you push those, she makes these sounds.
Has turned into a nightmare for parents. The DreamWorks Trolls World Tour Giggle and Sing Poppy doll has caused outrage because of the placement of the doll's press to talk button.
So it does normal stuff when you touch her belly, but then you go in here where the button is literally in between her legs.
Several videos of upset parents have gone viral on social media, and in just 2 days, an online petition to remove the dolls from shelves got over 300,000 signatures. Parents fear the doll may groom children to accept sexual abuse, but experts say this isn't the case.
For most children who are not sexual abuse victims, this is outside of their frame of reference. They're not going to automatically think about a sexual act because it's just not something that developmentally that they're aware of.
She says concerned parents need to shift their focus to the adults around their child.
That toy alone and that is not going to cause sexual abuse. What causes sexual abuse are sex offenders.
And educate your child on where adults should and should not touch them.
Just having an open conversation with a child, this is your private parts that, nobody is supposed to touch.
Jackie says sexual abuse is common in Southwest Florida, and at her center in Collier County, 38% of all child abuse cases are sexual. She says this is why it's important to look for changes in a child's behavior, as this could be a sign of abuse.
A child was doing really well in school and all of a sudden their grades drop, or a child who's ordinarily energetic and happy, you see a real change in their emotional behavior.
I reached out to Hasbro and they weren't available for comment, but when I visited a local Walmart this afternoon, the doll had already been removed from shelves. In Cape Coral, Christina Evans, Fox 4 in your corner.
Governor DeSantis trying to put a positive spin on how many people have been off the roads during the pandemic. He says it's helped get some major road projects ahead of schedule.
We need to take advantage of that. we need to accelerate these projects that we've been working on. Let's get it done as quickly as possible. And so we did a number of these things in that April and May time period to really capitalize on the reduced mobility.
The governor says the state has accelerated more than 50 major road projects all across Florida, which he says has saved the state more than a year and a half of time that would have been spent on construction. If you rely on your car's automatic lane change or braking assistance, AAA now says those safety features could put you at risk of being in a wreck. Heather Sullivan shows you that after testing several vehicles, there were some shocking results.
If you rely on your car's partially automated steering, acceleration, or braking, AAA says this could happen.
However, all test vehicles were particularly challenged when approaching a disabled vehicle with a collision occurring 66% of the time.
66%. And they found all 5 of the vehicles they tested had trouble staying in their lanes without driver intervention.
So AAA researchers noted these systems struggle to keep the test vehicle in its lane, coming too close to other vehicles, guardrails, and intermittently disengaging, often with little notice to the driver.
AAA also found vehicles braked so abruptly for stopped traffic, they might cause rear-end collisions. The takeaway? AAA wants drivers to remember, avoiding accidents is still up to you.
So drivers really need to be engaged when using these systems and understand their capabilities and limitations before implementing them into their daily routine. One of the things you can do to learn more about these active driving assistance systems is get a demonstration from your dealer and read the manual.
We've got an update for you on this car. Remember, it crashed into Beef O'Brady's restaurant on Sumter Boulevard in Northport late last night. Well, somehow, whoever was involved, including the driver, was not injured. Nobody was hurt. Our crew went to the scene early this morning. We saw some glass on the ground in the parking lot, and those hurricane shutters were up, as you can see. We will let you know just as soon as Northport police give us an update on how that crash happened. More than a dozen people are dead, more than 100 others hurt after this plane skidded off the runway in southern India. The plane actually split in two while it was landing in this heavy rain. Nearly 200 people were on board. It was actually a repatriation flight carrying Indian citizens back into the country. Regular commercial flights have been halted in India because of the coronavirus outbreak. Governor DeSantis says he wants the annual football game between Florida State and Florida to be rescheduled. During a press conference that was held yesterday, he said that famed rivalry between FSU and UF is good for the state. The two schools have been playing each other right around Thanksgiving ever since 1958. But FSU's in the Atlantic Coast Conference, the ACC, and Florida, of course, is in the Southeastern Conference, the SEC. And the ACC and SEC are now limiting teams to in-conference schedules only. The governor says he wants to work on keeping that game going, and he says he'll be at it over the next couple of weeks. There are some changes happening on the NFL side as well. More than 60 players have opted out of the 2020 season because of the pandemic. The New England Patriots are the most affected. 8 of their players are opting out. Only one player has opted out from Tom Brady's new team, which, in case you haven't heard, is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that's offensive tackle Brad Seaton. Players who opted out voluntarily get a $150,000 salary advance, and their contract will roll over to the next year. About 2,800 players are on NFL rosters.
It's just an awesome chance to get a piece of pretty much iconic cinema.
An iconic Florida home featured in a Tim Burton movie is now up for sale. How it can be yours for the right price. You're watching 4 in Your Corner coverage on WFTX.
First. Live from the station that's in your corner, you're watching Fox 4 News at 6.
We here at WFTX are working hard to bring at least 30 companies with hundreds of jobs available right now together in one place next Thursday. It's the Southwest Florida Virtual Job Fair. We really want you to be a part of it. This week, we've been showing you how our partner organizations are using what they stand for to reach people who need the help, the dignity of working. And we've talked about adding value to the community and the need for a second chance, or third or fourth. Today, it's the power of work. And my colleague, morning anchor Chris Shaw, has the story.
It seems like for most of us in Southwest Florida, there was a moment when the pandemic crashed into our lives. It may have been a positive test or while waiting in line for food or losing a job, which did happen to Lisa Garofalo back in May.
Once my contract ended and there was not another opportunity for me to continue that work, is when it started.
And it was when weeks of not having a paycheck and not finding a job with a salary she could live on made Lisa think about where she was.
I'm kind of like looking back in my life and looking at my age and hoping, that I was further along in life. Like, I thought by now, like, I would be in a set company where I could kind of make a home and have that like work family. But right now it's just like a transition and a time of like not knowing. You wonder like, well, why am I not working? What am I doing wrong? Why am I not working? Why is everyone else working and they've all been in these steady jobs for so many years and I'm not working? Like it makes you think, what am I doing wrong here? Am I just spinning my wheels?
The moment when the pandemic crashed into her life was when it shook her confidence.
When families are rejected over and over, they're having a hard time finding work. That really can just rip away at people.
Megan Rose is the CEO of Better Together, especially now she sees what's going on with Lisa happening to so many people. That's why her organization started this Southwest Florida virtual job fair. She believes if you concentrate on helping people get jobs, you keep families together.
So when someone loses their job, they quickly face other challenges and their lives just spiral quickly out of control. So the longer somebody is unemployed, the more likely they are to suffer from another more serious crisis.
The power of work goes beyond just a paycheck, and Lisa has a plan to get that power back.
It's hard, but I think right now, especially with this pandemic, people are having to reinvent themselves.